sides. As in, no, we're
both.
feminists.
You've been on both. You say we're feminists.
Yeah, we are.
You are feminists.
Have you not joined yet?
No, I'm not joined.
She really said she was a feminist.
No.
Welcome to the Unapologetic Podcast with me, Sophia, Leonie, and my co-host, Mehreen, Baig. Today we're talking about, has feminism gone too far? Is feminism just a fad right now, or are women in crisis? We're here with our guest, Odette Brooks.
Hi, I'm Odette. I am an English teacher. I have my own business and I'm a mother of two.
So, ladies, let's get started. Feminism. Are you a feminist? And what do you think feminism is? Odette, let's start with you.
Odette's face does not look impressed.
The thing is, don't hate me, people. Please don't.
What's she going to say?
I'm not a feminist, I have to be honest. Okay. But I think, first of all, let's define what feminism is.
Okay.
And I think it's a movement that wants to ensure that men and women are treated equally. And that part of it I support.
Okay. So you are kind of a feminist.
I don't like labels, sorry. But I do believe in some of the principles. I think the movement itself historically has some issues that I can't really buy into.
What, the vote? The equal pay?
No, I think the thing is, with feminism, we've gone in straight in, so I'm going to go in. I'm going right in. I'm going right in.
I think,
what's my issue with feminism? I think the issue for me is that it's a bit one-dimensional in the sense that it almost suggests that the issues that women face are purely men, and men are the demons or the evil ones in society. And often you get that feeling that feminism is almost anti-men or anti-males. That's one thing. It's not the only reason why I'm not a feminist. The other thing I find about
I'm just going to interrupt. That is not what feminism is.
I'm not saying that's what it is. I'm just saying the movement sometimes has that agenda coming through that I just can't get with that. Okay. Also, historically, I'm going to be real, it wasn't something that was really fighting for black women. Okay? And so for me as a black woman, standing up for a movement that historically wasn't really for me, I don't really see how that fits in with my sort of beliefs and my own agenda. But so, go on.
Do you not think that for example, like the civil rights movements and all the black movements have also excluded black women? So historically, we have been fighting for all of these rights for black men. So if we're thinking back to the 1960s, for example, the initial kind of Black Power movement, there were a lot of things in that movement that meant that women were supposed to support the men, and they were desperately in need of a movement, which I think, you obviously don't agree, that feminism would feel like a movement that actually cared about them being treated as second-class citizens as well as their position as black women.
What I mean, sorry to interrupt you, Sophie, I think what I'm trying to say is historically, the forerunners of feminism were middle-class white women fighting for middle-class white women. They weren't fighting for black women initially. That's what I feel. And the truth is, as I stand here or sit here, with you guys, the biggest issue for me is not that I'm a woman, it's the colour of my skin. That's the biggest factor that's causing me discrimination. I've got a young boy, I've got a daughter. He's also going to face discrimination. He's also going to face some inequalities. So for me, it's not that I'm anti-feminism, it's just that there are so many issues to do with equality. I have no reason to just be focusing purely on the fact that I'm a woman, because that's not the only inequality that I face. That's not the only discrimination that I face.
Therefore, can't you be fighting for feminism and fighting for racial equality? So essentially you're saying that the only inequality you face isn't because you're a woman, it's also like the bigger inequality you'll face is because of your race and the colour of your skin.
That's right.
So instead of removing yourself from the feminist movement, surely you can say, well, actually, I will fight for women's rights. I will fight for my rights as a black person. I will fight for my rights as a black woman. And I agree with that.
And I think that's what I do. I think for me, I'm about inequality. So where I see an injustice or things aren't fair, I'd support that. But feminism as a movement, it always seems to be quite one-sided and seems to focus purely on gender inequality, which is what it is about. But that's not the biggest issue that's bothering me, if that makes sense. I am concerned about it, and I would go and fight for women, but it's not my biggest bugbear. It's not the thing that's bothering me the most.
Somebody like you who is really aware of all the things that are going on and really clued up and believes in equality across the board, this is the kind of feminism that we need to push. And so if you would call yourself a feminist and you were part of that movement, the movement would be diversified, and it wouldn't suddenly be middle-class white women, and it wouldn't just be their agenda. It would be an agenda that is for all of us. Is feminism a bit of a fad now? Because I'm totally for it coming mainstream, and I love the fact that we are now talking about women's issues across the board in mainstream culture. I think it's really important. But there is that kind of uncomfortableness when you watch something like Big Brother try and do it, and it's just feminist light, if that makes sense.
For those people who don't know, it was 100 years since the women got the vote, so Big Brother decided to celebrate the diversity of women by having an all-woman house and getting all different types of women in there, and really celebrating
and to
our
spark
differences.
Conversation, I think the idea was supposed to be.
So in comes one black woman.
Well, there you go.
And no other woman of colour.
Okay.
At all.
Two
In fact,
Tories.
predominantly blonde and 2 Tories. But we also had, was it, I don't want to say anything incorrect, but I think it was British Vogue, and they were celebrating diversity, and in there were no Asian women. There were none. So you had an Asian man, you had Zayn Malik, but there were no Asian women.
Right.
So there is this thing of people do push their own agendas through feminism or through something else, and turn a blind eye to other people's struggles and barriers and inequalities that other people are facing. But then isn't it up to us to get involved and say, actually, if push my agenda too, I'm going to push my agenda, you're pushing yours, I'm going to push mine.
Okay,
What do you think? Because I think that and that's the part of me that understands where you're coming from, because there is, we're talking about feminism so much more, but then when it comes to it, are we getting a space to talk about our views and our experiences?
Or are they
as
valid
women?
within the movement? I just don't see why I have to walk around saying I'm a feminist. It's just being overused at the moment.
I do feel it's being overused. I mean,
for what purpose?
All feminists believe in the sisterhood until the sister decides she wants to wear a hijab. Or until the,
okay.
Do you know what I mean? All feminists decide that they believe in the sisterhood until the sister does something that you
disagree with
and doesn't fit your agenda or your life or your opinion or your whatever. So I do think it's being overused, and I do think everyone's I do think it's
I don't agree. I think it's being used, and we're saying it, and we should say it more, and we should talk about it as much as possible to get it out there in the mainstream agenda. I think it's really important. Like, we've had 20 odd years of complete political apathy after the identity movements of the 70s and the early 80s, and since then no one's really been talking about issues, including racial issues and gender issues. Really and now we have the hashtag Me Too. We have people coming forward and talking about things that matter.
That part of it,
that is
I
so
like.
important.
I think that's important. I mean, the Me Too movement, although there are some criticisms of that, I think that's an important aspect. Women can speak up and talk about things that they would ordinarily hide
100%.
out of shame, and that is wonderful. But I'm still not convinced. Feminism means something to you depending on your own culture. So, for you as an Asian woman, I can fully understand why you would throw yourself into a movement like that, because there are so many things that you want to do to empower Asian women,
completely,
etc., etc.
Yeah.
But you don't think that black women need empowering?
I'm not saying that. Of course we do. I mean, but I'm West Indian. We're very outspoken women. It's not, we're not oppressed within our relationships. This is a big generalisation. Of course there are some, but generally speaking, I don't feel that I grew up, I'm just talking about my personal experience. My mother, aunties, people that had around me, they were very outspoken. I mean, they had some very old-fashioned views about women should be cleaning and cooking and gender roles and things like that.
But that's still an example of inequality.
But did they feel oppressed by that?
They might not feel. Patriarchy is ingrained within us.
No, but if
we're socialised to feel like that we should be in the kitchen, that we don't matter as much as our husbands or as our sons. That is something that's ingrained in us, that we believe. We might not feel that we're oppressed, but that doesn't mean that we're not oppressed.
But if you're happy serving your husband, and if you're happy in that role, I don't think feminists should be telling you that you shouldn't be happy in that role.
Yeah,
I don't think feminists should be saying, no, you shouldn't be serving your husband, no, you shouldn't be looking after the children. If you're happy in that role, there's nothing wrong with that. That's a very,
there's nothing wrong with that.
Me. I've got my hands out waiting patiently.
I'm talking too much, sorry.
No, I agree. Feminism, the main thing it boils down to feminism in a nutshell for me is the fact that you have a choice.
Okay, I get that.
So if you want to be a housewife, and if you are happy serving your husband, if you are happy being at home,
that's way too simplistic.
No, but it's the choice to be a housewife. But if I want to go out and work, I can choose to go out and work, and you can't stop me from doing that. If I want to get married and I want to be a lady of leisure, that's my choice. I'm happy in doing that. If I want to work and I want to be a CEO of a company, I'm happy, and I should have the opportunity to do that and pay me accordingly. It's all about if I want to, because then I was doing break duty at school once, do you remember? And a woman came to me, she said, why are you wearing heels? You know, heels were created by men to make women seem inferior and blah blah. Firstly, bollocks, that's not why heels were invented. They were invented for men to show their status back in the day. Besides that though, men also invite the light bulb, shall I hold a candle, what would you like me to do? But if I want to wear heels, I wear heels. I have the choice to wear heels. If I want to wear flats, if I want to shave my legs, I've got my body lasered. Doesn't mean I'm not a feminist. You can't pay me equally now. If you want to grow your hair, you grow your
100%,
hair.
but
it's about having the choice. Do you know
where did those choices or people's desire to do those things come from? The desire that your job should be to serve somebody else. And people generally, from older generations, probably more than younger, believe that that's what they should do, and they feel happy because they think they're fulfilling their desired role. But where does that come from? That idea that we are not fundamentally as important as men, and that comes from tradition, that comes from religion, and that is why some people are happy with doing that. And it's fine if you're happy with doing that, but still we need to know why are some women happy with putting themselves last. That is not okay.
Okay, I get what you're saying, but I don't think those women will say they're putting themselves
They
last.
They wouldn't because patriarchy is ingrained in how we think from when we are born, depending on our and also depending on our religion and our culture.
There were matriarchs in many black cultures. They're matriarchal societies and cultures, and they still serve their husbands, and they're happy serving their husbands.
Why are you serving your husband? I just don't understand that concept. I totally do not understand why you feel your job is to serve someone like a servant.
It's not that you're saying your job is to serve your husband. Look, at the end of the day, everybody has the right to live the way they choose, and that's why I'm not a part of this damn movement. I'm going to be honest with you, because it wants to tell people what they should do and what they shouldn't do. If a woman is happy serving her husband, crack on with that if that's what you're happy to do. But if, like you said, you want to go out and work and do whatever you want to do, so be it. It's choice. I think the idea of sort of equal pay is fundamental. I mean, it's outrageous that women are not paid the same as men, and that I would fight for 100%. But I don't see why, because women must say that they're feminists, all of a sudden, no, I'm not going to be cooking, I'm not going to be serving my husband, I'm not going to be doing this because that's against my movement. I'm not for that.
I'm not saying you shouldn't have to do it. I'm just saying we need to think about where that has come from and understand that is...
In my world, that comes from culture. In my world...
But it's a patriarchal culture.
Yeah, I agree. It's completely... My culture, Asian culture, is definitely a patriarchal culture, which is why it's important for me as an Asian woman to be part of the feminist movement. It comes from culture, but it doesn't come from religion. So in my religion is often sold as the most misogynistic, anti-woman religion that there is.
And you are?
Because I'm Muslim. Because we advertise the men's rights, we advertise men's role in life, and the women who were on the battlefield during the time of the Prophet, the fact that the Prophet's wife was his social superior, she was his boss, she proposed to him, all of these things.
Did she? I didn't know that.
Yeah, she completely put away. No one talks about it. The fact that men and women were encouraged equally to go and educate themselves, to go and work, to go and be able to provide and survive and be independent and flourish, and you know, that's all culture. So I think that idea comes from culture, and a lot of Asian girls are happy to say, yeah, I'm going to sit at home and I'm going to cook and clean because that's my duty, which is why the feminist movement is needed, because we need to educate them and
say, we flip the script, and we now have a society that tells you shouldn't be serving your husband, you shouldn't be. That's still somebody telling you what.
I agree.
It's still conditioning you.
But it's not about somebody telling you not to serve your husband. It's the idea that it's not your job to serve and make yourself subordinate so that somebody else is more powerful. It's the idea of not putting yourself in a position.
So cooking food and serving your husband means that you're subordinate.
You can both do it. I'm not saying that you shouldn't ever do it, but I'm just saying it should be one person that has to do that for another person because of their gender.
Okay, do you accept that we are different? Men and women are different.
We are different. Of course we're different.
Okay, and so do you accept then that...
But we're not inferior because of it.
I didn't say inferior. I just said different. Okay, I just said different. Look, I know I'm not inferior to anybody. Let's make that clear. But
Serving someone puts you in a position of inferiority.
no, it does not.
Oh, it does.
Really?
But that's the word. It's the word serving.
Serving is a wonderful.
cooking
To serve
and-
someone's a lovely thing. No, I don't see anything wrong. If you have the opportunity to give what you have to others, or to come into my home and I serve and look after you, why is that the lowest thing I could do?
Because I think the word serve makes it seem like the other person has like this divine status. You serve God. You're serving.
You can
serve
do
you
it.
food
It's a
when
nice
you come
thing
to my
to
house.
do, but if that is your
Does that
job,
mean that you're higher than me because I'm serving you food when you come to my home?
Yeah, I'm the guest.
you
innit?
guess. Yeah.
And you're higher than me. Oh dear God.
I just wanted to move on to something that you mentioned a little while ago. You said, I shave, I'm lazy,
Let's
or
hear
I
about
do
the
my
shaving.
hair, and
Let's talk
Where
about
are you
my
shaving?
appearance. And I think it's and that's an interesting point of feminism, because I think all of us here are concerned with our appearance. We like to look nice, and you don't call yourself a feminist, but you believe in female rights. I guess we kind of talked about and
Womanism. Alice Walker, indeed.
Alice Walker.
But is there some part of us that does that because we know that this looks nice
Hell
for
no.
male society,
Yeah, that irritates
and we
me.
do that
See,
for
this
that?
is where I come with the whole. There's no one size fits all
I
feminism.
think we do, by the way. I think subconsciously we do this to fit into patriarchal society and the ideals of what men think is nice.
This is
So
why
that's why we do
feminism
it.
goes too far for me.
It doesn't get too
What
far.
we're
That's
saying
the
here, clarify
fundamentals
this to
of
me,
it.
Sophie.
That's
What
the
are we saying?
fundamentals of
That
it.
we put on makeup and we beautify ourselves because we're trying to. What are you saying?
Because the male society
The male-dominated society has put has defined what beauty is, and women have to be attractive to be valued, have to be sexualized to be valued, but not too sexual. Otherwise, you're a whore, and that's not good enough. But there's that fine line between being attractive and sexy that men dictate values women, and so we want to be part of that because we want to be valuable.
Okay, that's an interesting idea. I think in my head when you spoke the first time round, I thought about the animal kingdom, and we're all part of that, right? I'm going to go back to basics. Surely it's a natural thing for a woman to want to be attractive
But
and
who
to attract
dictates
males.
what attraction is? Women didn't have, and historically haven't had the power to dominate the narratives. The historical
that.
narratives come from men. So everything that has been passed down from a male perspective, they say that history is half a story, it's the man's story. So everything that we've learned comes from a male perspective.
Not
And we're
everything,
starting to change that now.
No, I'm in the middle of
It's
the
all
two of
good.
you. But I feel like when we start talking about things like the reason why you are shaving your legs or wearing makeup or blah blah or wearing heels is because deep down subconsciously you're trying to impress the man, and this is why
It's not trying to impress a man. It's just
or
that
because the male dominant society has made you in this way, and then I read a book and it says we should be tasting our menstrual bloods because we are
Hey,
feminist.
No, you're going
reading?
way too
No,
far.
but it's true. Or they're
No, that's not what I'm saying.
but it's all of this stuff where I'm just like, there are bigger issues to be dealing with, and those are the issues where I'm in the feminist movement. If you start
I think
pinpointing,
body and self-image is
I'm
so
really
important.
offended because the man offered to pay for me. Oh no, you held the door open for me. You're saying I'm less than you as a woman. I find that petty.
Annoying.
I find it too far. It irritates me. It makes me feel like I'm not part of a movement where I want to be part of a movement because I want to fight for the important things and
This is
equal
why I'm
rights.
saying
Well,
to you,
it is
forget the
important.
movement. Just forget the movement because the movement's flawed.
The movement isn't
The
flawed.
movement is flawed.
It isn't
It's
flawed.
got
These
too
are
many
But then I can't be.
contradictions.
Sorry, then I can't be a by your
You can
definition.
be a
I can't be a
feminist.
feminist because how can I fight for women's rights when my day to day revolves around beautifying myself?
It's about understanding where this stuff has come from. Obviously, I still wear makeup and I still dress up. And
But then how can you call yourself a feminist because you're trying to please what the...
Because
you're
I understand that I live in a male-dominated society, and
But
I
you're
live
fighting
in
against
this world.
it. You
and
don't
I
want
have-
to be a male...
No.
You want it to be an equal-dominated society.
So
You
then you
don't
must
want to be
wear makeup.
male-dominated.
Equal-dominated isn't possible. Equality isn't one
You want
person
equality.
dominating
You don't want to
other.
be in a male-dominated society. Therefore, why are you doing things that the male-dominated
We all
society
do
ingrained
things-
into you?
No, we all do things that we know might slightly, because we live
But
in this
then
world.
it fits you.
No,
Wait,
you
wait,
pick
wait,
and
wait,
choose.
wait,
No,
wait,
you
I
pick
need
and
to- I
choose.
need to-
You
wait,
let me
you want to be a
speak.
feminist.
No,
No.
you
I
need
don't
to let me
agree with
speak.
that.
We live in this world where we are all contradictions and we all do things that we know actually we live in this world, we need to function. If I started walking around with no makeup on, people would be like, are you ill? People would be like, I wouldn't get certain job offers. I have to exist in this world too. That's 100% the truth. But I talk about these things and I want people to be aware, and I want things for my child or my grandchild to slowly change. Where I don't have to feel like I have to
how is it
one minute.
No, because I live in this world and I have to exist within it. But I do want people to be talking about this, and I do want things to change.
I agree with that, but if you're conscious, you are a conscious person, and you've just highlighted that.
And I think it's also common sense, and I don't see how people.
How can it change for your daughter and your granddaughter when you're conditioning to it? You're doing what you
I live in this world, and
but they're going to live in this world too. So unless you actually say, I'm going to go and I'm going to go with no makeup on and try and get that job offer,
sometimes I do.
Then your daughter's going to have to do the same damn thing because you're living up to it.
Look.
I'm being honest and I'm being real, and there are millions of women out there that also are like this as well.
Like what?
That understands that there are things that we do as women because we have to exist within this world. We are overly sexualized in the media. We aren't going to stop listening to music.
But Sophie,
and I know that you listen to music. We've talked about this, that we know that it's a bit misogynistic, but we still listen to it and we still enjoy it. And we know that we probably shouldn't listen to it.
But isn't this just being a hypocrite?
Because we have.
Isn't this just being a hypocrite?
But then, so it's a contradiction, which is why I think there are bigger issues to be fighting for.
This is the struggle with the movement. It is hypocritical. It is hypocritical. I mean, you're sitting here saying that,
because we've got so far to go. We're coming from such a back foot. Well, thank you for joining us on the first episode of the Unapologetic Podcast. Hope you've enjoyed. Leave some comments. So we want them to leave comments. Leave comments if you enjoyed.
Yeah, leave comments. Are you a feminist? Let us know. Are you a feminist? What is feminism?
And who do you agree with more?
Yeah.
Okay, till next time.